iTiS World of Worship Fellowship, in truth and in spirit World of Worship Fellowship. Today is Monday, August 4th, in the year of our Lord 2025. And being Monday means we do a question and answer session. We normally tackle questions from life, from the Bible, from marriage, from society, from religion, God, philosophy, you name it. We are happy to entertain all sorts of questions. So if you have a question for us, if you have a topic you'd like us to discuss, feel free to inbox me. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, there's a number that is displayed there. Just WhatsApp that number, and we'll be happy to have a session on whatever question you have. Today we have a very interesting question or topic of discussion about speaking the truth. Is it always worth it to speak the truth? This is quite interesting because the very nature of this fellowship, what we call iTiS fellowship, started with an attempt to speak the truth to a certain religion. And then where we ended up 10 years later, here we are. So anyway, we're going to ask ourselves, is it always advisable to speak the truth? Okay. Especially when that peace, rather when that so-called truth disrupts peace, relationships, or job safety. How can you tell your boss that they're wrong? How do you tell the president that he's naked? You remember that story about the emperor being naked. How do you tell the emperor that he's naked without jeopardizing your own safety, the safety of your family, or your family at large? Okay. How do you tell your loved one the truth? Okay, and we're going to ask ourselves, is speaking the truth always the right thing to do? Are there cases where silence is helpful because we are dealing with human beings? Okay. Is brutal honesty always helpful, or it can hurt more than it can heal? Okay. In relationships, work, and politics, how much truth is really necessary? How much is too much? Many relationships have ended on just revelation of certain information. Hey, I didn't know this guy was like this. I didn't know this woman was like this. I didn't know this. I thought this guy was my friend. How could he do this? How could he say this? And so on and so forth. Okay. And of course, we'll get into silence. Is silence always the wise thing? When does silence actually mean compromise? Is it even wise or advisable to keep quiet when there are things at stake? But most importantly, we want to learn, how can we speak truth in love, but without losing the conviction that we have about that truth? And then today being Monday, we want to know the will of God when it comes to matters of speaking the truth. Okay? There's that very popular verse in John chapter 8:32, the truth, you will know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. What did Jesus exactly mean by this? Okay? And so on and so forth. So that's what we're going to talk about. Dr. Mukwana, I want to start with you. This is
Yes.
very, are you there? Yeah. Is it always, of course, is it always right to speak the truth? I don't know that we should start with the definition of truth here, but I want to look. Is it always the right thing to do to speak the truth, especially as a Christian? Of course, this is from a Christian point of view. Or there are times when you should keep quiet for your own safety, for the safety of your family members, and so on and so forth. What do you think?
I think keeping quiet and speaking the truth are the same. The difference would be in not keeping quiet and not speaking the truth. But the best way to keep the truth is to keep quiet. But should you want to speak, then speak the truth. And if you accept my line of thought, then I'll tell you it is precarious to just speak because you are speaking the truth. One time, I like sharing my experiences. One time, a student in Wanyang Girls, I was a patron for prefects, and I was working with for counselors, and I was working with the deputy head teacher who was a patron for prefects. And we met. She had just been promoted to that position locally. She was very excited. She loved me very much. So I trusted her. Now, one time a student comes and tells me we have a phone in our dormitory. And this prefect is a counselor. And she advised me that I would call the girls who have that phone, that I keep it because it is distracting them. They were not sleeping at night. So, and the school has a policy, your phone with a phone, you're expelled. And so this one is a counselor. She has confided in me. And they were students of literature, so we are very close. Apart from being their patron for counselors, I was also their teacher of literature and their beloved teacher, if I must add that. Now, the girl brings the phone, calls the other friends. I talk to them. They bring the phone. Then I told them, but you know, I am a male teacher in the girls' school. If they will discover that I've been keeping this phone, it might bring me other problems. So I want to share with my colleague, the patron for prefects, who is the deputy teacher. Now, the girls advised me not to say that, not to do that. They really implored me, and they told me, no, I work with my colleague. I cannot do this behind her back. After all, we've worked together. We have already agreed that we protect you, we support you, you know, things like that. Finally, I convinced them, and I shared with the deputy. The deputy took it to a different level, reported to the head teacher, and this from school. To cut the long story short, I was hurt, I was pained, and for me, once I'm hurt, I normally don't speak. I keep quiet. So the deputy discovered that I was hurt and disappointed. So she went ahead and even changed the story. She changed the story and said, actually, I've been with that phone. She has discovered, she had done investigations and discovered that I'd been with that phone. And I was giving the girls to call at time of their convenience. It moved from bad to worse, but I remained strong. So when I was about to leave that school, because really I was leaving that school the next year, I was now moving to Kira College of Tiki. I got a book and gave the girls, senior 3, senior 4, senior 5, senior 6. I asked them to share with me what they think of me, their opinion. And I've written a book out of that. The title is Perception in the Girls' School. I've not yet published it. You need to read it. Perception in the Girls' School. You need to read it. The many things that I documented out of that book, but also out of what they wrote, but also out of my experience there. But one of the girls told me this, and that's where I was driving to. Told me, Mr. Mukwana, I want to advise you to stop speaking the truth
We've lost him.
for it. A girl in senior 6. Are you with me?
Yes, you are back.
We can hear you.
I don't know where you had lost me from, because I heard the priest say you've lost him.
The Mr. Mukwana, you should stop saying the truth.
Hey, you should stop saying the truth, because one day you'll be killed for it. And I was so shocked that a girl in Form 6 who is about 18, 19 is advising a man who was by then 37. But has gone on. I was talking with Peter recently, and I said, I think men grow at 40. Because when you interact with girls, the things they tell you at 20, you learn them at 40. You people who are not yet at 40, like Jethro, you may not understand the thing.
Dr. Mukwana, I'm insulted.
Okay, I withdraw the statement. Though you look young, I thought you are maybe around.
Isaiah who looks 18.
I thought you're about 28 or 29. But
Now I'm flattered. Go on.
But what I've learned really is that even knowing the truth is a problem enough. Just knowing the truth may be a problem enough, especially if it's related to politics. Some people have been killed for just knowing the truth. You remember our friend David, King David? At one time, he had to pretend to be a madman to survive death. The Bible also tells us of Abraham, who had to lie that Sarah was his sister to survive. And he knows the truth, but at that moment, survival is more important than sharing the truth. So it is not wise to speak the truth all the time. Some truth, we shall carry them to the grave. So that's why I said that know the truth, but don't say it. If you're not sure, you must say it. Or say it if you've weighed the consequences and you're ready for the consequences. Let me end here for now, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Mukwana. You've said some very interesting things. You started by saying that silence and speaking the truth are not the same thing. If you are speaking at all, you should speak the truth. And then you ended up in a very interesting way as well. Francis, your hand is up. Do you want to react to Dr. Mukwana's submission, or you want to make your own?
I would like to have a reaction and also to make a submission.
Please
A
proceed.
brief one. Now, I just want to talk about silence. He mentioned something about silence. Also, it touched me when he was beginning his submission. And thank you so much, Dr. Mukwana, for that submission about the truth. And I did one of the most interesting things I studied was most interesting field I studied was communication skills at Makerere way back in 1999. And I remember being taught and learning actually over the years I've mastered it. I was told that in communication, non-verbal communication is more truthful than verbal communication. That if you want to know the truth from someone, watch their lips, watch their eyes, watch their body movement, watch how they just the body language. So and I was also taught, and I've also observed over the years that even silence is speaking. Silence communicates something to you. Many times, if someone asks you a question, and the easy answer is yes. If you keep quiet, it means the answer is no. For example,
What do you
if
mean
you
by
find
easy answer?
yeah, I'll give you an example. If you find a kid, if a kid steals sugar or something, pick something on at home, and then you come home and then you ask them who stole the pancakes, who stole sugar, who stole whatever, and then this kid, and if this kid is supposed to say no to save themselves, if this kid keeps quiet, it means yes, they took this sugar. So even silence is a communication, but of course you have to watch also the non-verbal communication, the non-verbals around the non-verbal communication or the language the body is speaking to you. Now, No, it's not. Now, the other thing about there's something I want to say also about the truth. Um, for so many years, I used to think that the verse in the Bible which says, "The truth shall set you free," meant speaking the truth. I thought that was the truth they're talking about. I learned later that the truth is different. The truth the Bible is talking about in that sense is different. Actually, I learned it from iTiS in the different deliberations. Now, the truth is, I was over the years I used to I caused a lot of damage and havoc by saying the truth, and of recent I've this not recent, very recent, but maybe 10 years back, about 10 years back, I discovered the fact that I should manage the way I say the truth, or even even I should lie sometimes to make sure that I protect them. I keep the peace and the harmony and the well-being, because sometimes the truth that we say can hurt people more than a lie or keeping quiet about something. Now, I'll give you an example. There is something which I was sharing even this morning, which happened in my family. It's about the truth. As I told you, as you guys all know by now, my dad had 21 kids from 9 women. Now, one of the stepmothers I had 3 children, had 5 children, but 3 of those children were not my dad's children, and 2 of them were my dad's, of course. Then on her deathbed, she died I think in 1990. I was in primary. I remember I was in primary, I think. Now, this lady was on her deathbed and she called 2 of those kids, because one of those kids who was in my dad's had already died, and my dad had buried him in at Chirinya here near our the iTiS place. Now, my stepmother told those kids and those who were around, I think my grandmother was around, that my father is not their father. On her deathbed, a few days before she died, and she told those kids who their fathers were. Now, their fathers were very broke guys in Mukono. And my father had looked after these kids. These kids were very young, by the way. One, I think the oldest was going to primary one. Was in primary one at the time. Then the other one was in nursery. And my father was paying the school fees. My father was loaded that time, and all was well with the kids. Now, this lady, because she's dying, she feels like she has to say the truth. She tells these kids that my dad is not their dad. Uh, 35 years after, these these women, they are women now, but they are living a very horrible life. They are so broke. They are so when my dad learned that, when it came public that they are not my father's kids, my grandmother chased them away from our place, from our home, and they're told to go back to their fathers. And these girls never got an education. They are living a miserable life. I have a feeling that if this same mother of mine had not come up with that truth when she was on her deathbed, these girls would have lived a life similar to mine, maybe, or even my other siblings who are not that bad love. But they are so bad love. Sometimes when their kids go, when their kids are sick, they will call you, Francis, Baba, can you help me with 20,000? One and Falco, they are at that level, they can't even afford 20,000 for medication for their kids. They are so broke, but this came from the truth. Now, I've also had some encounters where, but the truth hurt people, but that one was the strongest, because it affected 2 girls' lives. They're now adults, but because of that truth, why couldn't this lady, why couldn't my stepmother keep quiet about that truth and go with it to her grave? So sometimes before, to me, before you speak out the truth, first gauge the consequences. What are the likely consequences? Now, if those consequences are adverse, if they're sometimes the consequences of the truth are not they're not good. Whatever. Sometimes you actually first gauge, is it going to do good or harm? Sometimes the truth is going to do harm. So protect yourselves. The other time you're talking at I weekly catch up before the recording about the truth in family. There are certain truths you're going to take with your spouse, and your marriage may end there. Not only your marriage, but sometimes your life, depending on the spouse you're dealing with. Not only your life, but sometimes even the health may deteriorate. I know a couple. The woman discovered that the woman discovered that the man was cheating, and she had a stroke because of that. She had a stroke because of that, and she's never been the same. She will never recover. She's one side of her is not the one leg doesn't operate, the other leg, one arm doesn't operate, and even the brain, she's never got back to her senses. Like she's a bit off. The wire didn't connect back again properly. Now this came because of the some truth being revealed. So imagine you coming clean because you want to come clean to your wife or to your husband and telling them that, oh, I'm having an affair with someone, or I'm sleeping so and so, and because of that information, you lose them. You lose them, either they die, or they have such a condition, or they do something to you. There are many instances where spouses have hurt their partners, or even have killed their partners because of them confessing the truth. Would you like that to happen to you or to your loved one? So the truth can be harmful. So say the truth if the result, if the consequences are good and they're not harmful, and avoid the truth or keep quiet. But even as I've said, even keeping quiet can be communication. You may think that someone can ask you a question, and instead of answering back, you keep quiet. But that keeping quiet is saying something. It can say the truth to them, by the way. So even be careful, even about keeping quiet, because even sometimes keeping quiet communicates the truth. Thank you.
Thank you, Francis. And thank you for the different examples you've given us. Obviously, one of the truths we are dealing with, at least in Uganda lately, is the truth of DNA. It has caught left, right, and center. People taking their children for DNA and so on. It's unfortunate what happened to your sisters, by the way. Quite sad. Of course, now the question is why is truth so painful to deal with? In that we try and hide it. Why is it so? Is it supposed to be that hard to deal with? If a girl is ugly and you tell her you're ugly, what is wrong with telling her that, for example? And so, Isaiah, let me come to you. You're one of those who has suffered with this concept in your own admission, because you speak your mind.
Yes.
Why is it wrong to say the truth?
Yeah,
Because
it
clearly
is.
there's something wrong.
It
Go
is
on.
wrong. Yeah, it is wrong because human beings are hypocritical in their sociology. The sociology, the practical, the practicality of our sociology is hypocritical. That is why truth is offensive.
Can you simplify that very, very big English you have used
Yeah,
for some of us?
human beings thrive under hypocrisy. Everything about us is a lie. Yeah.
It's a very big statement you've made.
Yeah, it is, but that's why you see that's why you see religion is popular. Religion is popular because religion fundamentally is hypocrisy. So, and that is what all our cultures are about. For instance, you are Muganda, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Can you manage to count the lies about the Buganda culture? So and that is the same with Dr. Mukwana. That is the same with the Westerners. That is the whole thing. So that's why truth is a problem in our sociologies. In our sociologies, and I am a student of philosophy. There, I don't think I remember all the theories or the views, but let me see the few that I can remember. There are like 3 or 4 theories of truth. Because first of all, before I go any further, let me give you my definition of truth. Truth is reality. That is what truth is. But they are in philosophically they are like 4 or 3 theories of truth. There's what they call the CCT, the classical correspondence theory, and under that they define truth as an accurate reflection of reality. When you reflect about reality and you are accurate, that is truth. The accuracy of your reflection of what is truth. then then there is another one okay, for instance, maybe I should be giving examples so that we can all understand. Is that okay?
Yes, sure.
Yeah. So in the classical correspondence theory, you can say that the dog is barking. Now, for that statement to be true and truth, you must have corresponding sounds of a barking dog. Therefore, the dog is barking. So it is true because you have heard and seen with your own eyes.
Is that the same one they use in court? Because in court they say what you saw, what you heard, or what's the third one?
Fake. Exactly. That is their definition. That is what they are applying in that situation. They are applying the correspondence theory. Now, the other one is the pragmatic theory. Pragmatic theory, something is true because it works in practice. So in other words, just because something works, it is therefore legit and true because it works. For example, I told her, we were at work fighting with my manager. I told him the truth in front of everyone. He was making noise. He kept quiet and walked out. That's what that manager needs. The manager.
So assuring him works in this case.
The manager who was noisy, we told him the truth that he slept with the secretary and he walked out. It worked. And he no longer barks at anyone. But we all know what that means, don't we? So that is the pragmatic theory of truth. That is truth. Then there's I think I should give you the last one because that's what actually inspired me to tell you about the theories. Then there's the coherence theory. Now the coherence theory is something that is true because it is logically consistent within the system or the culture. It is that, so that is truth. For example, the Baganda say, when elders fart in the room, you don't tell them that they have farted.
It is the children who have farted.
It is the children who are affected. Now that is within the system. Now that is why truth is a problem in our societies, because majorly sociology, or human anthropology rotates around the coherence theory. Something must be consistent with the system. What do we believe here? It doesn't matter whether it is true, but what do we believe here? How do we do things? What is the tradition? What is the tradition? Okay, so living in this sociology with the idea of truth, you need not to be lazy and reckless like Tumwine Mutabazi, myself. Because for me, I am lazy, I am reckless, I don't know how to live within this social fabric. I just say the truth as it is, and I normally hurt people with the truth. I am not trained in information management and packaging. I am not trained. I am I am loose. I am lousy. I am lousy, and I discourage anyone to be like myself, because I left I went to a certain university to do my degree in theology. I found there a professor who had taught theology for 40 years. That guy introduced me to concepts of the gospel. Then my first question to him was, why haven't you been saying these things as they are? He didn't reply. I walked out of that institution and I went and told the very institution that provided the academics, and I told them that you are wrong biblically. And I did that on the pulpit. I was summoned to the high council of that religion, the top council of the doctrinal council, and I told them openly that you are wrong. Let us open the Bible. The council told me, we are not going to open the Bible. We only called here to ask you, are you with us or not? I told them that, yes, I am a believing Christian who wants to stay with you. They said, no, are you with us or not? I told them, oh, that's all right then. Let me write a letter. Give me minutes. They give me some minutes and hours. I typed a letter of resignation. And since then, here I am. Now, I don't know whether I was wise, because one of the professors that actually introduced me to these things and to this approach of Bible study had coexisted with these wrong people theologically for over 40 years, and is still there. So I leave that for you to judge. Thank you, moderator.
Thank you. Thank you for the definitions of truth. Obviously, it sort of contextualizes the whole discussion. Sandra, your hand is up. You have a question, or you want to speak the truth?
Can't speak the truth.
You want to speak the truth? Sandra?
You're getting me?
Yeah, we can hear you now.
Hey, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Hi. Sometimes I'm a mama. You see, like what Pastor has said. I think one of the reasons as to why some of us have suffered a lot at our workplaces is because of speaking the truth at all times. Kati, let me just give you one scenario. We all know confidentiality is one of our patients' rights. Now, this is a lady who came HIV positive, married to an HIV negative husband. They're happily married. They've been together for some time. They've actually delivered the first, second, and now they are having the third child. And they are still discordant. The husband doesn't know that the lady is actually HIV positive, because she told us, do not disclose. At whatever cost, do not tell my husband that I am positive. Now, the sister to this woman, who knows that the woman is HIV positive, was being vibed by the husband to the woman. But to cut the long story short, this lady goes out with the man, she gets drunk, and she spills the soup. The lady had just been operated. I think it was her second post-operative day. Her husband comes back and is asking, "You are positive and you haven't told me?" Because the sister had spoken everything. This is how he was going to sue the entire hospital. He called the doctor, and the doctor was like, "Munage, it is the patient's right. The patient told me not to disclose." See how this man became very violent. He was a Nigerian man. He became very violent, started spoiling hospital property just because of the truth. And the marriage had to end. So there are certain types of truths that are very destructive, that are actually brutal. I have come to learn this on my previous work of employment where I've been working. I got to realize that each time you say the truth, you're actually going to suffer consequences for it. It is better to either keep quiet or noyogera amazima for you to survive. Because if noyogera obulimba for you to survive, because if you keep saying the truth, oba ogenda kufa nga okyali muto. That's what I can say.
Thank you, Sandra. Sandra is in the medical world, so she has shared from her experience there. It's quite interesting. So doctors are not allowed to speak the truth until the patient agrees. That's an interesting one.
If I come to you and I don't want my husband to know that I am HIV positive, you're not supposed to tell him. All you have to do is counsel me about disclosure. But the moment you tell him that your wife is positive, I can sue you.
Thank you, Sandra. Of course, the other area where truth is not welcome is politics. We all know. If you decided to start a political discussion about your country, choose any country. By the way, it doesn't matter. I don't know if you survive 2 days outside jail or a safe house. Gospel Ninja, are you there?
Wendi mbawulira muli wano mwerimba temwagala mazima.
Tubuulire amazima ssebo.
Musajja omukulu Sebaza n'atandika otulimba. Anyway, I think this is a very important subject to discuss. And obviously coming at it from a specific worldview. Good evening to all of you. Ndi musajja. I am a believer, and so I look at truth from that lens. But I do acknowledge the fact that we live in a world where it's not necessarily an absolute. In fact, even though people pick up Bibles or religious books and they hold them up in the air and say, "I swear to say the truth and nothing but the truth," they will still tell a lie. We could go on and on, but I noted down a few things. It is true that truth is complicated. And that's why it's important when people are stating Jesus is the way, the truth, and the life. I don't know whether they even understand what they mean. One of my favorite quotes or situations in the Bible is Pilate and Jesus having a conversation, and in John 18, and Jesus telling him, "Those who are on the side of the truth, listen to me." And Pilate asking Jesus, "But what is the truth? Or what is truth?" And for Pilate, it is circumstantial. The truth is that as a young governor in the Roman Empire, he's likely to lose his, what you'd call, position, and there's so much at stake, and he doesn't know truth. He just knows circumstantial truth or subjective, as you would call it, and hence it is relative. But truth matters a lot. I'll quote a couple of people, then I'll go on to conclude. There's a guy called Winston Churchill. Some of you will know him, or all of you. He said truth is the most powerful weapon in the world, but it is always guarded with a brigade of lies. That you have to protect truth. And he was speaking in the context of war. So in a war, in any war, strategically, your enemy should never ever know the truth about your weaponry, your tactics, your positioning, your location. That's why today we fight war technologically, so that it's a matter of giving a missile a certain direction and it goes. And the moment we see your missiles coming, we have counters, and then we send them. You've watched wars on TV, and you see how there is countering, there is stopping. In actual war, Winston Churchill was saying, when they were fighting wars back in the day, you can only win a war against your enemy if there is a significant amount of truth that you keep from them. And you cannot keep truth from them only by silence. Sometimes you're going to not tell them that truth, and perhaps tell them a lie, if you would say. And if we look at truth like a weapon, as a weapon, you will see how we play with it. For example, when you're telling someone a lie or you're withholding the truth, so you're using it as a shield, or you're using it for defense or to attack. Like the story that Annie, I think it was Priest who used that story of, here's an example where you tell you boast in having utilitarianly used, okay, you use the truth to manipulate or blackmail someone to back out of an argument. So you really hit them with the worst truth about them. You even slept with the what? The whatever, the
Secretary.
omusajja wadde amanyi teryakimanyi nebyabika amazima gavuddeyo, so it is a weapon. That's how some people would look at it as, and that's why we wrestle with it this way. On the beneficial side, obviously, we all want to know the truth. A couple of years ago, while doing university missions, we went all over the universities in Uganda. Not all over, we went to 11 main universities in Uganda, all of them in Kampala, and some of them on the periphery, and then up to Mbarara University, Mbale and Mbarara. And we did do surveys. We asked people whether they would consult, if they had a chance to consult with a dead person, if they would do it. If they had something they wanted to know. Believe me, 88% of the people on our universities, and some of them, even UCU, twagendayo, ngabana bakugamba, by the way, if you had a family wrangle like land or whatever, and just imagine if the only person who knew the truth who could help was the dead person, wemufuna chance, it would be good okumukomyawo n'ababulira amazima. So while we are hypocritical and we see our safety and benefits tends to thrive on lies, we also know the value of truth in terms of, say, judgment, or rather justice, and other things of that nature. And again, I'm going to throw in another one. One of my friends we grew up with used to lie a lot. Fenna tulimba, neoli omugaye nga alimba buli kimu. Eranga, if you come and tell us something and you tell us it is Patrick who told you, we are all going to say, bibireke, just forget. Kubanga guy, atenge chimulimbisa partly was because of imagination. He was extremely creative. Like, I can't forget how many dramas we did that he himself sat down and wrote and, scripted by himself. He was super creative. Nenenga films mwononyi. Omusajja oyo yangamba lumu, twali tuli fenna ne bagaye, n'agamba mwe Raymond mwe mugamu, you vilify lying. He said, you've never been in a situation where only lying will take you through. Nga okujjako ng'olimbye togenda kufaawo. ng'olina kulimba bulimbi and you get out. Kati mwepanga n'amazima naye temumanyi nti okulimba oluusi kuyamba. So we live in a world where we have that tension. We love to be told the truth, so we don't like anyone telling us lies. But we would use the lie, or we would hold back or manipulate truth, or half truths, if you would say, for our safety, for our benefit. My take is, friends, from a Christian worldview, for truth to make sense, it has to come at a cost. It is at a price. That's why I began with Jesus. If we take Jesus seriously for calling himself truth, and then we don't just take the line, the word, the truth itself, and then look at his life, how complicated, how whatever comes around him, it's not only the good things. He actually dies for being truth, for telling truth. So there's no choice. We either live with truth or we die. We can pretend, as Mkwano Gange priest Gambia, because we like to thrive in hypocrisy. But the truth is, we need truth in order to live more than just this living and thriving. Otherwise, Christ wouldn't be coming and calling himself truth. So, amazima tugeetaaga, Bible egamba, you shall know the truth and it will set you free. Even if you die by the truth, mazibizibu kwogera, but that's the thing. Amazima ge mazima gali painful, bagamba nokkawa gakaawa, si kyomugana. So yes, we have no choice. I know. I would say that weapon, it's the most powerful weapon, and you have to guard it with a brigade of lies. Which take a negative from a Christian worldview. We don't have to hide the truth. I think the question that you asked in the topic when you presented, how do we make sure that this truth does not harm people or harm us? As a gospel ninja, the truth I bring to you does not hurt. It serves.
Hallelujah. Thank you, Gospel Ninja. The truth is a weapon.
It is to destroy lies.
So, yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much for your submission. It's 7:10 p.m. This is East African time. Today is Monday. And this is the iTiS Well of Worship Fellowship, online fellowship, Q&A session every Monday. We have a Q&A session, so if you have a question, a topic you'd like us to tackle, please feel free to first of all join. The link is the same. But if you can't join, then of course we record this and upload to YouTube every week. You can always go to YouTube. Our channel is iTiS Well of Worship Fellowship. All the recordings are there. And follow us as well for updates. We are discussing the concept of truth and whether the cost of speaking the truth is really worth it. Is radical honesty worth it really in the broken world where we live, where truth actually hurts? Is being brutally honest the wise thing to do? Are there times when truth should be withheld? Gospel Ninja has just given us some examples. Survival. Sometimes you just want to survive. You want to get through a hoop. You've probably been taken to court. You just want to get out of there. Eli will get you out, and so on and so forth. So, as of course, we're asking all this as Christians. Should you always be brutal with the truth or honest with our truth? That's what we're asking. We've heard from many people here already. Let me, Bob, you've just joined. Just keep following. I'll give you a chance to speak.
By the way,
Dr. Mukwana, yes.
One of us is sick, and it's good he's here. Brother Young has been down, eh?
Hey.
So we don't know how he's doing. I don't know whether that truth is also unnecessary.
Patient confidentiality. Sandra told us about patient confidentiality. Now you, Dr. Tumwine, you have already breached
Young is
patient
my brother.
confidentiality. Nozowulira.
Ngenda kuba bulungi wama muganda wange. Olaba abaganda abatayagaliza.
Kati abaganda tebavuddewo ne banna. Obago nago mazima ga kwogera getayagala.
si mazima, si mazima.
By the way, we can also go a little bit tribal, stereotypical if you like.
Naye kyokka nja kuba bulungi, temweraliikiriza, nja kuba bulungi.
Amina. So the Bachiga, I think many people from the West are said to be brutally honest, whereas people from the Central here, the Muganda person will not like you, but they will hang around you. They will visit them. They will not say anything, and so on and so forth. Francis, your hand is up. Do you want to continue with that?
Let me first make a comment about professional dishonesty.
Yes.
Actually, not dishonesty, it's professionally, there are certain professions people are talking about like in the medical profession, whereby is professional known to say the certain truth. Then in practice, in my profession, there is a certain strand of accounting where certain times you are risking your client with the truth if you say the truth. Now in accounting, we have different types of accounting. We have cost accounting, management accounting, we have we have financial reporting, we have then we have audit, where the truth is needed a lot, audit and audit. But then the tax accounting is one accounting which can destroy a business if you say the truth all the time. Now, there are certain, when I started out in accounting, I used to say the truth all the time, and I lost clients. I sank people's businesses because of the truth. Now, over time, I discovered that in tax accounting, for example, if you report, you can, in all other types of accounting, the truth is you can say it as it is. But in tax accounting, if, for example, you have a startup, a company which is struggling, and you declare all their income and expenses as they are, and their profits as they are, and you declare all the taxes and pay them as they should be, many businesses would sink. I'll give you an example. I was in Entebbe. I was working with an American after learning about that part of the truth. So I was working with an American, and I was an accountant for an American, and he wanted me to file his. I was doing all his accounts. So from the onset, I told him that I advised him that I'm going to report to you all truthfully everything as it is in your business. But I'm advising you, because that's a practice in Uganda, that when it comes to tax accounting, we are going to be very selective with our truth. We are going to report certain things and we don't report others, taxman. Why? Because I told him, if you report all your income and expenses as they are, and you pay the truthful taxes, your business is not going to survive. Because all your competition in Entebbe, they are not paying tax. They don't pay some taxes, and they hide that truth. Okay, they say lies about their income and expenditure. So the American told me that in America, we pay all the taxes and we say everything as it is. Now, he told me that you are my accountant and I pay you. You report everything to URA as it is. So we reported everything. After 1 year, exactly after 1 year, the man came to me. He told me, Mr. The business was sinking. The man had invested $650,000 in a business in Entebbe and was running a high-end restaurant. He told me, Mr. Lugo, Francis, he used to call me, Francis, my business is sinking. Can you please do what you had advised me to do in the beginning? I told him, I cannot do it now because URA will find you out when you change figures all of a sudden. And after 2 years, the man closed his business with a $400,000 loss because he was keen on. So even professionally, in practice, tax accounting, there's a lot of lying in tax accounting because many times it's even for the survival, let alone greed, but actually for the survival of any business, especially young businesses. For me, When I'm dealing with a mature business, a big business which is very profitable, I'll stick to the truth in tax accounting. But if I'm dealing with a young business which needs to first get on its feet to pay its taxes truthfully, we'll hide certain information from URA so that this guy is so that the business gets up to speed, and then we can declare everything and pay everything. Because if I declare all the truth, then this business will die in its infancy, and many proprietors, entrepreneurs will lose their money or their capital. Thank you.
Thank you, Francis. In the broken world, speaking the truth can lead to your death, like we've seen already. Declaring all your income to the tax authorities means you probably pay 80% or 90% of that money.
You remember
The
my
government.
theory of truth. That is in tax accounting is the coherence theory of truth. You tell the truth that that is consistent with the system, and you know. Yeah.
The believable truth within the system.
The system. Because the American thought that Uganda is like America. America is not in a crisis. Uganda is in a crisis. So the American didn't know that this is a critical country where things are not done in the same way that they are done in a country that does not have that kind of crisis. So he operated outside of the system, and yet his accountant was advising him to operate within the system. And that is why he failed. It is called coherence theory.
Broken world.
Yes.
Dr. Mukwana, let me come back to you briefly. You've been silent. Hope you've been following.
Yes, I've been following. And thank you, Chair, once again for the opportunity. One time we were talking with Peter here, and we said that if my wife, for example, cheated on me, got 2 or 3 children outside our marriage, or even 1, and she tells me I would not send her away, neither would I ask her to take the children to their fathers. But if she waited for me to be 70 and then tell me that, then she should be murderous. She would have just waited for an opportunity to murder me. Akin to what
Isaac, proceed, please.
Yeah, those are noob supporters. I was saying that one time we learned that
Dr. Wefuge, koma musigana muleniyo.
Ngugi wa Thiong'o, his wife divorced him when he was 78 and did not survive 2 years after. Why would a woman you've stayed with for 50 years choose to divorce you when she knows that the only option you have is to die? I'm trying to show you how difficult some truth can be. And I said earlier that you either keep it to the grave or say it and be ready for the consequences, but not to keep quiet. Like our elder Francis should thank the mother for sparing the life of the father. Because if your father learned that the children he has loved very much, educated very much, when he's about 70, that they are not his, that would be his end. There is a way, a certain time, truth should never be said. There is a particular time where truth can be shared.
Dr. Mukwana,
Yes.
Dr. Mukwana,
Yes,
sorry,
please.
sorry for the information, but my father already knew.
Oh,
My father already knew, but he acted on chasing away the kids after the woman revealing what he already knew. He had already accepted the kids, but when the woman revealed what he already knew, he got them out.
oh. So okay, maybe that could really be a different case. But Chair, I also want to say that in this broken world, the most untruthful thing to say is to say that you speak the truth all the time. Because I know that there are times my brother, Priest Isaiah, has agreed with me on this forum for the purposes of continuing the discussion, but when the paralinguistics, the prosody shows that he does not agree, the tone and the manner in which he says it, but for the purposes of probably allowing the discussion to continue, he says, now let me not disagree with Mukwan.
But normally I fight you and this gospel ninja here. I have never agreed with both of you. You know, we all know.
but there are times you painfully and grudgingly agree. So it's really not easy, because even me, I pride myself in speaking the truth, but sometimes I just keep quiet. So Chair, probably like a gospel ninja said, the painless truth is that Jesus is the Savior. But sometimes even that truth can hurt a Muslim or a Catholic, or I don't know, anybody from a certain, they call them staunch religious backgrounds. Just telling them that Jesus is the Savior can also hurt them. But that one is a better truth to say and shout than to tell somebody that I cheated on you at a particular time. It can cause trouble and it can cause death. My sister, now let's share, this is the last example. My sister, and I think I've ever shared this with you. My sister one time told me that when you find my husband cheating on me, please never tell me. And I didn't know what she meant. But now that I've grown, I understand. If I find the husband to my sister cheating on her, if I can be able to slap him from there, that's the best I can do. Because should I tell her, she will just die. She does not have the strength to stomach the truth. So for the purposes of saving her, I will have to keep that truth with me to the grave. And I don't know, I think my brother Isaiah is strong. But for me, I'm not sure if I'm that strong. You'll find my wife cheating on me. I'm not sure if I can be able to handle it. So some things we just keep quiet to avoid bigger losses. I thank you.
Okay. The moderator has muted himself, but I'm very sure he has picked your.
I've been talking to myself. Sorry. I've been speaking to myself, and I thought, okay, sorry.
Don't worry. I told them the truth. Don't worry.
For you have no patient confidentiality. Your patient Tom is sick. You're busy disclosing on the forum. What's wrong with you, Dr. Tumwin? In the last 30 minutes, I want us to go into the will of God. As you know, this is a Christian forum, and we always want to bias ourselves towards our worldview, which is Christianity. When it comes to being economical with the truth, what some people call lying or speaking the truth, what should a Christian do? Or is it really circumstantial, depending on the issue at hand? I think it's Dr. Mukwana who gave us the different scenarios from the Bible. Abraham lied about his wife, that was the sister, I think David as well, and so many other stories even from the
And
Bible.
Reverend Raymond actually did also a great job on that.
Yeah. So, and I think Fahimi actually answered this question already. He said Christians should speak the truth. But maybe, yeah, so let's just try and wrap this up in terms of the Christian worldview and speaking the truth. And I think Reverend Raymond also said you should be ready to pay the cost as you speak your truth. We've heard of so many religious leaders who spoke truth to power, as they call it, and you know how that ended. Even other people, you know, day-to-day people who spoke truth to power, as they called it, and you know how that ended. So as a Christian, what does God expect me to do, Isaiah? Let me start with you. Should I tell the truth circumstantially? Should I always tell the truth, even if it's going to hurt others, because we are called to speak the truth? What should I do?
Well, have you heard of the statement that says that truth hurts? I'm sure we've even already mentioned it here.
Yeah, I've heard of truth hurts, but it heals.
Okay. There are two questions that I would like to ask under that phrase of truth hurts, and then maybe we can use that as a springboard into the Bible or into the will of God in this discussion. Truth hurts. Question number one. What does it hurt? It is important for us to ask that question. Truth hurts, yes, but what does it hurt? Does it hurt truth?
It hurts lies.
Why are we offended when lies are hurt? Okay? I'll leave
Ubunzani.
Gwe gospel ninja.
Anzani agambye nti ndi offended.
That is number one. Number two, the other question is, yes, the second question is when? When does truth hurt? Or when is truth justified to hurt? Is there a time when truth is justified to hurt? Now that we know that it hurts lies, is there any moment that truth is not justified to hurt lies? You see, these are very important questions to think about. Now, Christianity is obsessed with reality. Okay? And it is offensive as far as the will of God is concerned to lie for a worse future. Because normally when we lie, we are lying not for a better future. We are lying for a comfortable present, but for a bitter future. And whenever we lie for a comfortable present, what we call information management, knowing what to say when and where and how, all those are terminologies created by our web of hypocrisy. And they serve us well in the present and prepare for us a bitter, a very sour future. And we have suffered. We have suffered in various ways. In various ways. So it was, I think it was Mahatma Gandhi who said that truth never damages a cause that is just. It never. So, dear fellow Christians, we should prepare our people and prepare ourselves and prepare our environments for the truth always. Because the reason as to why we find ourselves into that catch 20, do you call it catch 24, catch what? Position.
22.
Catch 22. I had added 2. The reason as why we find ourselves in such situation, it is because we are not prepared to tell the truth. We have been nurtured in these hypocritical environments and cultures. That's why we are nurtured. We have not broken out. We are not born again. We are not new creatures in these sociologies. We are not creating a counterculture. We have not created it. And because we are not prepared ourselves, we haven't prepared other people around us, our family, our children, our relatives. We have not prepared our environment to tell the truth. We have found ourselves subjecting the will of God and communicating it through the channels and structures of the hypocrisy. And unfortunately, truth has been compromised, and we forget something that Reverend Raymond mentioned earlier in this discussion, that we Christians always forget that we serve a God whose crime was truth, and that is why he was killed. Thank you, moderator.
Thank you very much. Gospel Ninja, I want to bring you back. I know you're about to drop off. I know you had earlier alluded to this, but now we just want to kind of wrap up. We call it the will of God. What does God say in terms of these matters? Gospel Ninja, are you there?
Which matters? What does he say? What does the will of God say in which matters?
Speaking the truth always.
Yeah, it should be, so the world runs on lies many times. We want the lies to be true. And so we create a system in which, like, I liked the example from banking. The first time I got to know that from a banker, a friend of mine, and I think this is coming from the days of Crane Bank, but also earlier, he was saying, you know what, bank managers, he said, we call lawyers liars, but bank managers are the greatest liars in the world. Every day before they close, they have to give their shareholders and people out there an impression that things are going well. And he says, we walk in there, things are not going well. Things are really, 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 really bad. So we are in a system, and we have had very good examples here on the call. For example, that American guy, and I think Isaiah's diagnosis of it is that this American guy was doing the right thing in the wrong place. Okay, he was obeying the wrong laws in the wrong land. There's the way, there are laws that even URA knows. Even if you go to the URA people themselves, they will tell you themselves, for you to thrive, we can work out a system. The way you declare only this and then you don't do this. I'm sure you know about that. Even URA people themselves will tell you, because they know in this system, in this tax jurisdiction as it is, they know you're not going to survive because your competitors, I was talking to someone about a Christian businessman I know who is thriving on tax waivers from government. And he thanks God for that. And I hear him saying he has gotten favor from government. That's not, if you can confess that, that's okay. But if you keep saying how God has, favored and prospered this business, no, happy. Everyone, God gives rain. God gives rain to the righteous and the unrighteous. All we all have to do is go out and plow and sow seed, which together, and then God gives rain that causes seed to grow. And so God's will is that his truth should prevail, because there is an enemy of God called the devil, whose tool is lies, deception. For the devil comes to kill, steal, and destroy. He's a liar. He's a killer. He's a thief. He's a destroyer. He is the opposite of what God is. So God's desire. That's why he would never give us his word, which is truth, if his will was not for truth to prevail. And so by nature of his word, by nature of his character and nature, he wants the truth to prevail. But by nature, our fallenness, we have thrived on lies. And that's why the conversation in the Garden of Eden is the questioning of whether what God said was true. And that's a very important place to go to, because whether God said it or not was not the question. The question was, does God have the capacity to lie? He may have said it, but is it the truth? You understand? I don't know whether you follow me in that way. Like, yes, God may have made that statement, but is it the truth? Can God be trusted to be saying truth? Can we take everything God says as truth? Is what is at stake. Hence, once the moment you begin saying, but God said it, but is it really true? Did God really say? Okay, yes, he said, God said, but then if he said and you trust him to be saying truth, then why should someone else say something and you consider it? Because truth by nature is exclusive. And I'm sure you agree with that. Truth by nature is exclusive. If something is true, the rest is not. Only one thing can be true. And I keep telling people, if you want to prove that, climb on top of a house and try to walk off the roof. You'll figure out that gravity still operates on Earth. So it is true. You cannot work out any other way of survival. You have to obey that law of gravity. So God, by nature, is exclusive. God is absolute. He has no space for nonsense, for lies. Hence, it's either his truth or nothing else. Should you harbor anything else or should you bring anything else? Trouble. And that's what I would say. So God's will is that truth prevails. And so he gives us truth, and it is us who delight in lies. Blessed is the man who does not sit among the what? The scoffers, who does not sit in the seat of the wicked. Psalm number 1, Zaburi Soka. Who does not walk in the counsel of the wicked, and Zaburi ngeyagaragana kubera word perfect. So you know that Psalm 1. Yeah?
Yes, sir.
Yes, wano kangisome word perfect kubanga for me nze ekigambo kya Mukama kyensikiriza ng'eki Bayibuli yatugamba nti kyo tekiriggwawo. Ebirala byonna bijja kukola ki? Everything will pass away. Blessed the man does not walk among them, who walks not in the counsel of the wicked, who nor stand in the way of the sinners, or sits in the seat of the scoffers, but he delights in the law of the Lord, and on his law he meditates day and night. And if you're asking for the will of God, I think it is in his word clear. Ebyange kabisoke bikomaawo nga bw'okimanyi sawa yonna toddamu kumpuliza.
Yes, sir. Family gitulabire. Webale nnyo sebo. Bob, my brother.
Yes, mbadde ndowooza wannerabidde kwe kuwanika omukono naye I wanted just a few sentences. I think everything has been said. I liked Isaiah's submission, and the Gospel Ninja submission has really also put it to book. I just wanted to share just one quote. I don't know even who the author is, but he says, always speak the truth, but don't always speak. Even as Christians, always speak the truth, but don't always speak. Okay? And even as Christians, when you are torn between what to say and what not to say, you can be protected in the line by saying, I don't feel, in fact, here in law or in court, you have a right to say anything and not to say anything. So you can tell them, I don't feel comfortable telling you that, and that is fine. Okay? let them judge you by you not telling them the information they wanted to hear. Let them use whatever they know to come to conclusion or judgment. So you can protect yourself, but it is very, very dangerous. It can save you in a moment. Speaking lies can save you in a moment, but as Isaiah said, you better be ready for the future worse consequences. You can enjoy the lies for now, but what comes after that, when the real truth now comes out, you will tell. And that's why the Bible tells us you will know the truth, and the truth shall set you free. So when you know the truth and you speak truth, you are set free. When you tell a lie, when you tell the truth, you don't have to remember what you said last week, because people who live on telling lies, today he will tell you a different thing. Meet him tomorrow, he will tell you a totally different thing, and then you're like, you know. So if we tell the truth, we are free. We don't have to keep remembering stuff. We don't have to, say, oh, what did I tell him? So let us do all effort we can to speak truth, because in truth, we are set free, and our future, we don't have to explain a lot. But circumstances where lies are gonna put us into so much trouble, we are better keeping quiet, okay? And let us again be ready to face the consequences that come with that. So I thought that was a very good talk. And it says that also always tell the truth. That way, as I said, you don't have to remember what you said. I could have given an example, but I'll give it an abstract. So there's a person who, in the process of returning tax, I think Elder talked about tax returns. Bamukolera tax, for the case of making sure they get the maximum refunds from the government. Guy amukolera tax namugamba gwe tofaayo nze ngenda kukolera. So whatever money they had been taken off for tax was returned by the government. Only to realize, so this guy enjoyed the money, in that moment. Nazirya, nazenjoga, nagamba, nali nasobwadda. I was always telling the truth when I'm returning tax, because even here in the US, there are people who can make you do tax, and you save, you make a lot of, they give a lot of refunds to you even when they are not supposed to. So in the end, this guy then asks, give me the paperwork of which you used to return this tax. This guy had kept the paperwork to himself. So he finally shares the paperwork, only to realize that the guy had told lies on the guy's submission. Now, time comes for this guy to apply for citizenship. And they tell him, give us your tax returns for the last 3 years. And he could, because giving him citizenship, you needed to be a person who pays tax truthfully, and so that they know that you're a good citizen. Only to look into his tax that for this year, there were lies on his submission. He had submitted that he was a single person, yet he was married. He had submitted that he bought certain equipment that was not supposed to pay tax, and yet he did not. So this guy put a lot of lies on his tax returns, and he enjoyed the refunds they gave him at that moment, even if it was like $10,000. But this costed the guy getting citizenship for the US. So, this was 3 years down the line. So what I'm telling you is that try as much as possible to always walk in truth. And this will save you, will give you a brighter future, as Pastor Isaiah said. I think let me stop there. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Bob. Who's Ruth Rules? Is it a ghost? They always join, they never say anything, they never comment. Okay. Tom, do you want to say something? I hope you've been following the discussion as we try and bring this to a close. Am I alone here now?
No, I'm here.
Everybody else.
I'm here.
Kansooke mpulirize ssebo.
Kale Sebo. And because Isaiah, when is silence a bad thing when it comes to the truth? Because
You
many people
see,
say, really, they are hurt. Probably their person is hurt as well. So when is it actually a bad thing to keep quiet?
You see, moderator, silence, how you say the truth, eh? And all other managements that we can talk about should all be subject to reality, the reality cost. So the reason that's why I'm taking you through that is because should you be silent about the truth that is going to save the day, but in it saving the day, there are people who are going to be hurt? Because at the end of the day, you cannot get a win-win situation. Even silence is not a win-win situation. In fact, win-win is not truth. So, because win-win means that the other side of the devil has got 50%. And this side also of the truth has also got 50%. There's nothing like win-win in Christianity. The reason that's why we have the cross as the symbol of our salvation, it is because our principle of operation is we either win or they lose. That is, so there's no way, there's no way. So Christians must also be careful. That is why I say that you need to prepare yourself, because by the time that you are in a position where you have to be silent, it is because you never anticipated this and you've never prepared for this. How did you get there? You should always prepare yourself, not to find yourself in a position where you have to be silent. Because honestly speaking, you are silent. Is the Holy Spirit silent inside you? What is he saying? We all know the battles that we go through when we are face to face with witnessing and telling the truth. So for example, if you are applying for a job and you are in the office of the man who is going to employ you, and in the process and after that they have already interviewed, then you have that 5 minutes, and the Spirit is telling you to tell him, to preach to him the gospel, what do you do?
You see?
Yeah, silence. Silence. And then we start just like timing. You see, timing is very important. Time, but the Spirit is saying this is the time. Are you saying that the Spirit is wrong? Or you are doubting that it's the Spirit speaking? These are just hallucinations and your excitement as a Christian. So prepare. Let us prepare beforehand. Let us prepare ahead before we find ourselves in these situations where we have to come up with this whole thing of silence. The Baganda have a saying that says, or what? Do I have any Muganda here? Because you just I don't trust you. Unfortunately, I'm left with Jethro and Bob, whom I do not. The Baganda said that olwatto omukulu nalumanya lwaki tewayogera.
Ayina ensonga erobera bano okugattibwa gyogere kaakati olulabisirikanga busirisi.
And after that, and that announcement is made in churches publicly, and people keep quiet, they keep silent there. But after these individuals are married, they communicate to one of the individuals. We are at the burial, then someone is saying, I know what killed the late after the burial. And then they ask, why didn't you tell us? Why were you silent? I feared to cause problems. What have you caused now? So this whole thing of, yes.
No, I just wanted to ask a question about this whole management business. You see, part of the reason people hide the truth is because they're dealing with human beings, emotional beings. Shouldn't it matter how we communicate that truth, even?
Absolutely.
Or that is part of the preparation you're talking about.
It should absolutely matter. But the point I'm trying to make here, when we get at the point of where we have to exercise information management, what we call truth dishonesty, it is because we were lazy in the first hand. How did we get here where we have to pretend, where we have to compromise truth telling? How did we get here? It is my question. We have failed. We should prepare our societies, our families. We should build our families, our churches, our workplaces on the foundation of truth telling, because we know whether we want it or not, we will get to that position. But when we are all ready and we prepared and we foresaw this future, we are now free. Everyone is free to say the truth. Moderator, the time is up, but I wanted to share something very briefly here. We had a crisis in a family, one of my sisters, and she got into problems which we warned her about. So my mother went into her inbox and told her that we told you about this very thing, that is going to happen the way it happens. What she did, she came to the family group and she said, what I don't want, I am in problems. I don't want people telling me, we told you. I don't want people telling me, we told you. Then one of my sisters came, yeah, in fact, when someone is in pain, you cannot come back and then start reminding them what you told them, it is C. So, mom went mute. She started being apologetic. Well, you people, forgive me. But me, I thought, but what bad thing have I said? I came to the family group.
The mother Isaiah came. And I'm what to lead.
And I told my sister, it is disrespectful to my mother to start shutting her up when she's right. We told you, we did. You are grieving, you are in pain, and give us also an opportunity to grieve by telling you the truth which we told you before. Tell these people, because this idiot didn't want to be held responsible. You people should start telling people, because she's trying to tell us that she's wrong and we have to treat her as if she's right. No, she's not right because she's in pain. Just because you are in pain does not mean you are right. We should tell you, you are in pain because you are wrong. Now, that is the Isaiah who doesn't know how to manage information. And who doesn't keep saying it. Thank you, moderator.
Thank you, Mr. Namwatulila. We have about 4 minutes to go. Let's just have the closing remarks. Let me start with Sandra. Sandra, what is your biggest takeaway today? If any. Sandra left us. Okay. Dr. Mukwana.
Yes.
What is your...
Yes, we are living in a broken world. And, personally, I work with the one bishop I know who is very, very different from what he preaches. It is very easy to say nice things because you get endeared. But to live those things you're saying is a different thing. We are living in a broken world where the people we are living with are also broken. And once you try to please this world, you're going to live in a very difficult situation. Some of us have already paid the price, and we are still paying. And sometimes I wonder why I didn't know what I know now, at least 20 years ago, probably I'll be a different person. Because Jeremiah says, the heart is deceitful above all things and desperately wicked. Eyoluganda egamba nti omutima mulimba okusinga ebintu byonna ate gubonyaabonye endwadde etawonyezekeka. You can interpret that scripture the way you want. But if you want to live a little bit longer, you need to be calculative with what you say, when you say, where you say, because you're living with broken human beings.
Exactly.
I think.
Exactly.
Thank you, Daktari. Who else? Bob, any last words?
I think it has all been said for sure. I have no other comment. Thanks.
Okay, super. Sandra left us. She has gone back to the ward. Anyway, that's all we had time for. Thank you very much for joining in. On Thursday, we'll be back with another social topic, 6 to 8 p.m. Thank you for joining today's Q&A session. We've been discussing truth and what it means to speak the truth, and whether we should always speak the truth, and whether we should be willing to always pay the price of the truth. Thank you for joining in. We'll be back on Thursday. Same place, same time, same link, same passcode. God bless you. See you on Wednesday.
Bye.
Thursday, sorry.
God bless you, Chair. Thank you for guiding.